So, hello, I'm Randy Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services. We are starting a new year, 2024. We're focusing on one primary approach, one primary sales presentation, and all of the primary promises and unique mechanisms that come with that. So, that's going to be the drum I'm beating all year. I just got back from Fort Lauderdale, had a great time, met some wonderful people. Um, and I want you to know that there were four agents that they brought up to the front of everybody during that meeting to talk about their success, and two of them were part of our crowd, and I was really, really proud of that. When I found out what their production was and added it to mine and some of the other people that produced annuity business this year, the answer was $28 million. And if you figure that at 6%, 10 million or 1 million would be 60,000. 10 million would be 600,000. We almost had 10 millions. That's a lot of money, folks. And you can have as much of it as you will allow yourself to have in 2024. And that's my topic today. I just want you to be ready for it because I'm calling this show today, Be Prepared. And I just want you to know what that means. We're going to be covering it today, what it means to me, what I do. And I don't know how to do anything but teach you what I know and teach you what I do. So pay attention. And if you're not doing some of these steps, it may be the reason you don't have the income that you want. But that doesn't mean that people are not making more than me. If they're making more than me, I let them do what they want to. But if you're not at where you want to be, pay attention to what I'm about to say. And I hope you do. So first thing, you know me, I like that sixth grade school teacher stuff. So the very first thing I like to do is vocabulary. Being prepared. Being means to be willing to do something. And prepared, I don't know why I'm getting that echo. Has somebody got your, is everybody muted? Okay, maybe that's, we're getting an echo.
Some people are busy joining, but the only person that's not on mute is Linda.
Okay, Linda, can you go ahead and mute her so we won't
Okay,
get
I've
the echo?
muted her.
Okay, all right.
And there's still an echo.
Really? I don't have it over here.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so anyway, when we want to do the vocabulary, I want to talk about being prepared. The definition of being is to be willing to do something. Prepared means to make something ready for use or consideration, prepare a brief summary or an article, to make something ready, to put it together, to draw it up, to arrange it, to develop it. Be prepared. And, we're going to talk about the gentleman that I met while we were down there in Fort Lauderdale here in a few minutes. And he's going to talk to you about really being prepared. Or he's not going to, I'm just going to relay the message to you. But when I say be prepared, I want you to think about this. I don't know whether Confucius said it or not. I read somewhere this was an old Chinese proverb. But if you just state the answer to anything that you want in life, and then ask the questions how to get where you want to go. So if you say, hey, I would like to make $250,000 before December 31, 2024, if that is the answer, then let's ask those questions how to get there with estate planning. I will show you how to do that in the estate planning world. I can't show you how to do that in the brain surgery world. And I assume that you're not here to learn to be a brain surgeon. I'm going to assume that you're here to learn how to add estate planning to your product and service portfolio. So that's something you just need to be aware of. So the next thing, this is a statement that we'll get over this here in a minute, but this statement's not for everyone. But some of you, if you don't change the direction, you may end up where you're headed. And, sometimes I think that maybe you came to these classes to change the direction of where you're headed. and to find a new path and a new way of doing things that are easier to do and will make you more money. And I hope that's why you're here. That's the true offer that I have for everybody. So anyway, um, and if you want to learn about the cycle of success, just make an appointment with Greg. Greg's becoming an expert in explaining it and showing people how it works, and me too. And Jay's learning it. But I want to teach you how to hunt. But I talked to a lady today, and Jennifer Lee, if you're here, I hope you are. If you already have a lot of clients, you still have to learn to hunt. But it's a whole lot easier if all your clients are already corralled and if they already know you, like you, trust you. If you don't have that corral of clients, then we have to work on getting them to know you, like you, trust you. If you already have those clients, they're just waiting on you to approach them correctly. So success in the financial services arena, and I'm going to just be as honest with you as I can. It's all just a mindset. And it's congruency of your goals to your actions. So if your goal is $20,000 a month, then we have to take the actions that require us to take in order to earn that $20,000. And it is a mathematical formula. So, of all the people that are here, maybe close to 30 people here and 140 licensees and all the people that I met last week in Fort Lauderdale, everybody starts in a different spot. Some of us have existing clients, people who've done business with in the past. Some have no existing clients. And sometimes I hate it when people tell me that, because I just want to put my hand on my forehead like I have right now. And I want to go, open your eyes, look around. How many people, how many lives, how many families could you affect if you just took what you knew and applied it to the first person you saw 10 times a month? You can do it all in one day. Take a week to do it. Take a month to do it. You want to. But when we've identified a group of suspects, it doesn't matter where they come from. You need to be able to filter them and identify where they are in their personal journey called an estate plan. Everybody's in that journey. I told Greg and Jay and Steve and Lisa today that I had ordered 400,000 emails from a lady on Friday, and I gave her $1,378.56. And I gave that to her company. And Monday morning, I got an email from one of the managers of that company that told me that the lady who had sold me those 400,000 emails was in the hospital in intensive care and unresponsive. I kept thinking, my gosh, I didn't even take the chance to tell her that she might benefit from a conversation with me about her estate plan. I don't think it's my fault. I didn't know her, but what if I had? Maybe I could have helped somewhere along the way. And I hope she comes out of her coma. But she's probably on that table, that proverbial table I talk about all the time, that the doctor doesn't know whether you're going to live or not. And the doctor's wanting to know who in your life do you want to represent you based on the answers of the questions that you provided in your living will. And it doesn't seem like it's very important until you find out that someone you know is in the hospital on a bed in a coma, and the doctor doesn't know if they're going to live or not. Folks, doing that for people makes them know you, like you, trust you. And if you don't have clients right now, help them with their advanced care directives. That'll get you more clients you know what to do with. So anyway, I've got this quote. I've seen it a couple of times today, and I've seen it somewhere else. But Steve Jobs, I hope he had an estate plan. But your work is going to fill a large part of your life. I'll be honest with you, my work fills a large part of my life. I mean, I'm the proverbial, I am what I do. I don't know how to change that. Really don't want to. I like what I do. But your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And you folks that I'm going to say something to you here in a minute. But anyway, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And if you haven't found it yet, oh gosh, keep looking, don't settle. And if you're looking at what I'm trying to get you to do, if it's not what you want to do with your life, it's okay. You know, if it is what you want to do with your life, do it right. Help as many people as you can, as efficiently as you can, by using one approach over and over and over that you become a master of, one sales presentation over and over and over that you become a master of, and have all of the side effects of that and all the income and all the well-being that comes with it. So anyway, just be aware of Steve Jobs. He's not here to tell us to do anything anymore, but he left some good little tidbits for us. So I'm going to tell you, when I was in Fort Lauderdale last week, I got the opportunity to hear a speaker who was an ex-Navy SEAL. And I think they said he was on 58 missions in the Middle East as a Navy SEAL. His name was Philip W. Kuntz, and he wrote a book called The Truth Behind My Trident. I'll be honest with you, I got that book Thursday morning. I had it read completely by Thursday afternoon at 5 p.m. because it sucked me in so hard, because I realized through my life and all my work with people with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I've worked with hundreds of people with PTSD, Mr. Kuntz has PTSD, and it has affected and changed his life. But he just wanted to tell the truth about how to deal with some things. So anyway, but before we get there, the subtitle of his book was called Overcoming Life and Business Obstacles the Navy SEAL Way. Well, I don't know if y'all are aware of that or not, but I like to write books too. I'm the author of a few military history books. They're nonfiction. So you may appreciate my interest in what he had to say. He would have been a great guest on my radio show. I didn't know him. But you know, before we talk about Mr. Kuntz, I want to refer you to a book that I wrote that you have a copy of. Every one of you all, if you're one of our licensees, you have a copy of this book. I met the one licensee that's done over 800,000. Oh, well, I take that back. $16 million in production. Whatever that number is in commissions. I met him, and he was with a different company, and I convinced him to come over where we are just because I thought we could help him better. But he bought my book for $19.99. And I know that when he bought that book, he had no idea what changes would come across his life. And I'm not taking credit for it. I think it just led him to the total picture. And he did the total picture on his own, not that book. But I do credit the fact that he read my book, Approach, Plan, Succeed, to the fact that he is where he is today. Not because of the book, but because it was just part of the journey. And I, you know, if you just read that book, like I said, you got a copy. If you don't have a copy of it, let me know. I'll get you a copy. But in the Approach, Plan, Succeed book, if you read it, you learn that good mentors are hard to find. And let me tell you why they're hard to find. A good mentor is hard to find because when people find him, they work him real, real hard. So a good mentor will take you as high as they can take you and will introduce you to your next mentor. That's the fact. And if you read Jonathan Livingston Seagull, he had to go through several seagulls, and each one was flying a whole lot higher than the one before. And they kept referring him up to more advanced seagulls. In my life, I'm probably a semi-advanced seagull myself, but there's several seagulls above me that teach me, that can constantly teach me. And sometimes they look at me and ask me why I'm so dumb. But at the same time, they introduce me to other people that are flying higher than me and doing things a different way, and they help me. And then sometimes I go in and tweak and change what I do because of what they share with me. It's the same at every level. So, a mentor can be active or passive. This is important because an active mentor means they participate in your training and coaching. Well, that's Coach Saban and all those other great coaches, and I hope you think that's me too, because I love to participate in your training and coaching, and I love to see the changes it makes when it makes positive changes in people's lives. That's what I get high on. I really like to see that. But there's also a passive mentor, and that's someone who meaning an author or a writer who leaves you wisdom to absorb as you choose. And all the great literature books in the past are full of great mentors who leave us pieces of wisdom. So I just want you to take a minute now to allow me the time to introduce you to the wisdom of Philip Kuntz. And first thing he said, I'd heard it before. There's a commercial on there with American Indian on it. It says, there's a good dog and a bad dog. And imagine you're sitting on a fence with a good dog on one side of the fence and a bad dog on the other side of the fence. One side has a good dog, the other has a bad dog. Every choice you make feeds either the good or the bad dog. And you've heard the story. The dog that gets fed the most will triumph over the other one. So my question for you is, which dog are you feeding? Are you feeding the dog that convinces you to not do the things that need to be done to change the life that you intended to change when you signed on to learn estate planning? Which dog are you feeding? So just remember what I'm trying to say. You've got long-term goals and you've got short-term goals. My short-term goal today is to get through this day. It started about 3 o'clock this morning. It'll be over about 4 o'clock this afternoon, maybe 5. I've got Lonnie to talk to right after this, another one of our licensees in California. But my short-term goal was to get through the day and maybe go out there and play in that 10-inch snow. Maybe just not going to play in it, probably just going to walk around because I think it's too frozen. But I'd like to go out there and stand in it because I don't get to see snow that much. And 10 inches in your backyard for a Southern Tennessee boy, that's a lot. But so you got to take your short-term goals and your long-term goals and make sure they're congruent. And I have to ask myself every day, what am I trying to achieve? I'm going to ask you all, what are you trying to achieve? Because I hope that what you're trying to achieve is the answer that I told you about that maybe Confucius or somebody that's Chinese said. State the answer, then ask the questions how to get there. I talked to a licensee this morning and early this morning, and he agreed that $250,000 is where he wanted to be. And that he and I both agreed that we have to pick up the momentum and that we have to get the numbers working, and we have to switch our market a little bit and go from the people who only have like $50,000 or $60,000 and switch over to people who have $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. They're just as easy to find if you look. So I just want to ask you these questions real quick. Are your long-term goals to build a loyal, affluent clientele base? Now, there might be another step before that. My long-term goal might be to not have to work so hard one day in the future, or to convince myself I don't have to. But if you're in your career and you've got another 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years ahead of you, your one statement that you want to have on your long-term goals is to build a loyal, affluent clientele base. And if you have a loyal, affluent clientele base, you know what they have? parents and children and friends and coworkers and other mentors, other suspects. So, so if your long-term goal is to build a loyal, affluent clientele base, and your short-term goals are your short-term goals directed to accumulating these clients one at a time. That's the best way to do it. That's the easiest way to do it. So I would look at you and I would ask you, are you taking the appropriate first steps? And I'm going to, so many licensees ask me questions on step 3 and step 4 and step 5 when I know and they know that it does them no good to have that knowledge if they have yet to take step 1. And people say all the time, I want it, I want it, I want it. And I go, okay, do this, do this, do this. And they go, I want it, I want it, I want it, but I don't want to do that. So you can see some of the dilemmas I face every once in a while. But number 4, do you expect to be successful on a timeline? A timeline, the perfect timeline is the 90-day plan. And some of you folks, 9 of you, there were 9 of us in Fort Lauderdale from our group. We were 15% of the nationwide production of that group down in Fort Lauderdale, and I was really proud of that. But they handed out 90-day plans. So I just want to ask you, it's January 15th. You're 2 weeks into the first quarter 90-day plan. So my question for you is, do you have one? Question 2 is, are you following it? 3, do you really, really want it? And is the reward worth the effort that you're putting into it? So the next thing is that I want to ask you is, are you willing to make the sacrifice of whatever it is that you have to give up to make that happen? Now, I don't mean be a workaholic like Randy Baxter. Not many people can do that. To be honest with you, not because I'm better than everybody. It's just because that's just, like I said, that's just who I am. I get up and I try to work on this project because I love doing it, and I see the lives that I change, and we do change a lot of lives. The income for doing that's really, really nice, but sometimes changing the life and you see that life get changed makes you realize that what you're doing is a good thing, or what I'm doing is a good thing. So and then the last thing is, are you willing to implement that plan, that 90-day plan? And I surprised the boys at Simplicity and girls at Simplicity because I made a statement that there was a flaw in their 90-day plan, and they looked at me and they went, "What do you mean?" And I said, "A 90-day plan is no good unless you review it and modify it every 30 days." Every 30 days. You should have a 90-day plan for February, March, and April. You should have a 90-day plan for March, April, May. You should have and I do have a plan for April 30th if I get it approved. For you guys out on the West Coast, we're going to have a boot camp out in Las Vegas, April 30th. That's the same day as the dinner start of the Simplicity meeting, in the same building, probably the same room. And they have allowed me to piggy bank with them to show them that estate planning can be used to get into the income sale. So anyway, let's talk about what's it mean to sacrifice in a business a minute. It's important to note that sacrifices made for success cannot be measured with any amount of money. Although having those big checks of money coming in, it feels really, really good. Success requires hard work, dedication, willingness to make sacrifices. However, it's also important to maintain a healthy work-life balance and not sacrifice too much. Some of y'all got, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. COVID almost killed me. Literally, within 24 hours. I just had a couple more hours to go. It was because I had let my physical health deteriorate that COVID had the opportunity to kick my butt and almost in my life. So, and some of you, if you talked to me this week, you've realized that I've just, the sacrifice that I'm making right now. Some of you saw me do it down there in Fort Lauderdale. No chocolate brownies, no chocolate chip cookies, no ice cream, no bread. That's my sacrifice right now, and I hope it works. So remember, success is not just about achieving your goals, but it's also about enjoying the journey. You know what? I I never would have thought it, but I sure do like some lettuce with a carrot on it and some olives in it and salsa instead of dressing and a little salt and pepper. Now, 3 months ago, I would have said, I want spaghetti. But sometimes you have to change what you like. And that's true economically and financially and professionally. So, so let's talk about implementation a little bit. And some of you already know Charles Street. I don't know if you're here or not, but a lot of people I've looked up and I said, hey, what's the word for 2024? The word for 2024 is implementation. So I want to talk to you about there's a book out there called The Peter Principle. I read it a long time in college. I thought it was the coolest book, but I never, the Peter Principle is an observation that the tendency in most organizational hierarchies, we have one. I have an organizational hierarchy in my little company right now with 140 licensees. So we do have a hierarchy. And in a corporation, is for every employee to rise in the hierarchy through promotion until they reach a level of respective incompetence. So one of the gentlemen I talked to today said that he was working for a company and he said, I quit. And I said, well, why'd you quit? And he said, they would not give me what they said. And I kept waiting and they never did give it to me. So I'm going to tell you what I said to him back. And this is true for every one of you all. It's true for me. No one in this organization will ever try to hold you back, will ever tell you you can't have something, because all you got to do is click your ruby red slippers and make it happen. And if you tell me you want to be a master licensee, I'm going to show you how to be one. If you tell me you want to be a senior master licensee, I'm going to show you how to be one. If you get to the point where you cannot become what you say you want to be, you are probably a victim of the Peter Principle. So, companies, good companies, great companies, the solution to this problem in all businesses is to follow a procedure and to recognize when that procedure is faltering and to implement a pre-planned solution that gets things back on track. Folks, when you are affected by the Peter Principle, call me or Greg or Jay and talk to us about the cycle of success. Because if you will implement the steps in the cycle of success, there will be no Peter Principle in your life. There may be plateaus. And if you hit that plateau, if you're talking to me and if you allow me the opportunity and to identify that plateau for you, I will be able to show you how to get out of it. Sometimes the Peter Principle is just a lack of one additional piece of knowledge. That's all it is. Remember, the past couple of weeks, I've been telling you, you guys that are here and getting a lot of knowledge, but not changing your income. It's not the knowledge that has any value other than the little self-satisfaction. It's not the knowledge. It's what you do with that knowledge. It's what you give back when you receive that knowledge to other people. So anyway, let's get back to Mr. Koontz. I've been trying to get to you, Mr. Koontz. So I just want to ask you a question. Do you have a go bag? Mr. Koontz does. And inside that go bag, he had a gun and a knife and a shield and a helmet and a bulletproof vest and a flare and a candy bar. So he had a go bag. that he could pick up at a moment's notice and take it wherever he had to go. A soldier may have his weapons for offense or defense and survival gear. But we've all seen a doctor has a go bag. Just ask Matt Dillon and that Doc Holliday or whoever that doctor was for Gunsmoke. He had a go bag. A carpenter carries a go bag. A plumber carries a go bag. Well, what about Randall Baxter? I carry a go bag too. And if you're smart, you'll learn what you need in your go bag, and you'll have one prepared at any given time and ready to use it. So let's take a look at what I have in my go bag. Greg, I think you've seen this before. Maybe Jay has, but you've seen me walk in the office with 2 briefcases. And y'all look at me and just shake your head, but I look at you and I'll go, well, this is a 2 briefcase day. And I do have days when it's a 2 briefcase day. Sometimes I have days where I think it might be a 2 briefcase day, but I'm too busy to even open my briefcases. But first of all, you need a box or a bag to carry things in. Even a bag lady has a go bag. But in it, I'm prepared. I know that wherever I go, I have some paper copies because I'm old school. I have a paper copy of the agenda that's on day 21. It's generic, but I like to fill it out and put people's names on it. People like to see their names on agendas. But I keep some generic in case I have to whip one out real quick. I also have a confidential. I keep 2 of them in the back of my notebook. Might need it. I also have a paper credit card authorization form because I might be having a cup of coffee with somebody and I might whip out the back of the napkin and draw the family tree on it real quick. And they'll say, I want that. I'll say, well, good, let's get your credit card number and I'll get it set up for you tonight. Will that be okay? And they'll go, yep. And people wonder, why do they tell me yeah? They tell me yeah because I'm the one that led them to the decision. And I didn't drag them. I just, in the conversation, led them through that decision. They said, I need to do this. Well, I know you're busy. Why don't you just give me a credit card number and I'll have it ready for you in the morning? Might need to call you and ask you a couple more questions. So I'll have that credit card authorization form, but I'll also have a paper data authorization form. These are all on your website under the form section. And some of you are so high tech and digitally inclined that you don't have a go bag, but you can have a go bag on a Zoom case if you want to. Just have the same documents ready to come and go. But anyway, I've also got a paper copy of the interview because that paper copy of the interview is the exact same interview that's on your website. I know, Steve, I know. What Steve wants to tell you is if I fill it out, when the ink dries, you can't read it. And that's true. But sometimes I can refer back to the family tree and tell them what's going on. And then I'll go, Steve, I guess you need to call him and clarify that. And he does, and he's wonderful. Okay, so you got a paper copy of the interview. And then I carry some extra Accord generic transfer forms. Well, what's that? That's the piece of paper that you have to have a wet signature on that moves $500,000 across the street. The rest of it you can do online. So I keep 3 or 4 of those in my notebook because I know how much they're worth. They might be worth $20,000, $30,000 a month if I just have the form with me when I have the conversation. That's what's in my go bag. Of course, I have my computer in a case, just in case I want to go digital. Okay, sometimes I'll pull out my computer there at the restaurant and I'll go digital on them. Most of the time, not. I'll whip out my paper. And then I've got my notary stamper. And the most important thing that if I could give it to you all, I would give it to you. The Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz got a diploma. The Tin Man got a watch. And the Lion, what did he get? A medal for bravery? That doesn't mean that he has bravery. It just means he's been recognized for it. So so number 9 in my mind, the thing that I'm going to have in my go bag everywhere I go is the knowledge that I have a mastery of the go-to first interview. It's in my persona. I can do the confidential blindfolded. I can do the agenda blindfolded. I can do the sales presentation blindfolded. I know where all the PowerPoints are. But you know what? I had to do them over and over and over and over and over to get that down. So if you're not doing it over and over and over and over, you're not going to get it down. And my advice to you, if you want a go bag like mine, get it down. Or pretend like you have it down, because the person you're talking to doesn't know if you don't have it right or not. But it's a good idea to have it right, because if you follow it, it will lead you to 20 and 30 and 40 and $50,000 commissions. And at the same time, help the person you're talking to and improve their lives. Everybody wins. So, you know, oh yeah, remember Mr. Koontz? In my book, I ask you not to innovate, but to emulate. Jonathan Livingston Seagull and the old soldier in my book have a lot to teach you. I'm old school. I like the in-person interview. Now, I don't want to ruffle any feathers here, but you folks that are doing Zoom calls, did you know your average sales are lower and smaller? A face-to-face interview, the licensees that I know that are doing face-to-face interviews are writing bigger cases. Now, it's up to you. I mean, the Zoom call is powerful, it's wonderful. But when I look at the actual production numbers, I'm just going to encourage you every once in a while, get a face-to-face interview and close that case using your eyes and your heart. Your income will go up. So here's some quotes. The truth. This is the guy I was telling you about. Remember? And he says, "Hey, you got to have a go bag. Everyone should have one, filled with the tools for your personal success." That's a no-brainer. And it doesn't matter what they are. They just have to be the right tools. You know, you've heard that 100 times in your life, right tool for the right job. But then, even though you have the tools, you've got to embrace the warrior within, and you have to give that warrior an outlet, and you have to give that warrior the weapons he or she needs to be successful. And if it's if you need courage, I'll give you a medal. Okay. If you can't remember something, I'll give you a diploma. If you don't think it's good for people, I'll even try to give you a heart. But at the same time, I'd look over there at Dorothy and I'd say, Dorothy, you grab Toto and click your heels and go home. Go where you want to be. State the answer and then ask the questions how to get there. And that's what Dorothy did. Dorothy just said, well, how do I go home? And the good witch said, you've always had the ability to go home. So anyway, it's not how far you push yourself. It's how you respond to your breaking point. You know, so I make the assumption that some of y'all came here because you're at a breaking point. Some of you came here because you went through one and never want to go through one again. Sometimes your breaking point is just a plateau. That's all it is. You're making decent income, but for some reason you can't get to that next level. If that's where you are, find an appropriate mentor. Find one that has felt that and done that and found the way out or the way up or the way through. That's what mentors are for. But, you know, that's one of the best ways to plan for having any type of good success. So, you know, don't surrender your lifelong dreams to escape temporary pain. You know, and I'm probably the worst at it. Sometimes Linda has to tell me to stop doing what I'm doing and get some work done. But we all do it. And sometimes I've looked at people and I've looked at them. I said, hey, you want the two best words of advice that I can give you for this situation? They'll go, yeah, what is it? And I'll look at it and I'll go, stop it. Don't surrender your dreams to escape a temporary pain. So anyway, you or I can only endeavor to surround myself or yourself with good people who know and support you. And I'll be honest with you, the past 3 months, that has been my mission, is for all our licensees to see that even Randy needs good people that I know will support me. And then I've tried to be intentional on building those relationships. And the reason I was trying to do it is I was on level 1 of estate planning. In 60 days, I took it to level 4. We'll talk about the levels here in a minute. But we can focus, we as a team, and that's something that Mr. Koontz was saying, but we as a team or individually choose to focus on has a direct impact on the end result. And that's what Mr. Koontz said when they were getting on the Navy SEALs. They can go into a battle or a confrontation or a situation and handle it correctly and come out unharmed. And I write about that a little bit in Approach, Plan, Succeed when I try to introduce you to the old soldier that doesn't dress the same as everybody, doesn't act the same as everybody, doesn't carry his gear the same as everybody, that goes on missions and comes back successful. That's called distinction. And I'm trying to teach you all to be distinctive. Don't be like the average financial service professional out there. They're product salesmen. Don't be a product salesman. So, life and its challenges, they're what we make them. Perspective while encountering hardships determine what kind of filter you develop. And it can be a develop where it stops you from working or motivates you to work harder and harder. So here's a little bit of word of advice for you. Your direction determines your destiny. And if you think that you can't have what you want because the water's too cold and you don't want to put your foot in the cold water, or you're afraid to take a step because you're not willing to brave the dangers that are ahead, you won't get there. You don't have a chance unless you're born into it. So another thing you have to watch out for is and this is something Mr. Koontz was said, because his career was changed because he got on the wrong side of the right people, and that affected his career, and he wrote about it in his book. And one of the things that he said was that the order that he answered questions, which is supposed to be the Navy SEALs, God, country, family, and he put the answer in family, God, country, Navy SEALs. And it ended his career. And made him wealthier and better. That's what he writes about in his book, that even the things that it could almost break your heart, maybe there's something good in there. And he went from being a Navy SEAL who could kill, and you should have seen some of the weapons he had in his bag. I mean, they were weapons. A knife that looked like a set of brass knuckles, that if you hit somebody with the brass knuckles, when you pulled your hand back, it cut their throat. So our lives are accumulation of our choices. And that right where you are right now, right where I am right now, our lives are accumulation of our choices, including the choices made for us by others. And it can be good, bad, ugly, be great. But it's what we do with these choices that determines who and what we become. So if you're given a choice to learn from someone who's doing something right, and you see that as something that you want to be, but you don't want to do it the way they do it, you're probably taking a risk of it. And the reason people don't take the risk of making it work as well is because doing it causes some kind of pain that they seek to avoid. So I'm just going to ask you, and this is what Mr. Kuntz said, are you protecting yourself from self-defeating thoughts? This can be found, and I find it all the time in mindset. I spoke with an agent in Florida when I was down there. I wanted to call him Mr. Him and Mr. Hall because he had every reason, every excuse in the world why he couldn't be making the money that he wanted. And he told me how much money he wanted, how much money he needed. And I showed him the way and I asked him, how's he doing on that? He said he hadn't started on it yet. And I went, why? And he said, well, life's just got me down. So you know what I said to him? I said, I got 2 words of advice for you. Stop it. So it's all in your mindset. Just ask yourself if you're where you want to be. That's it. That's all you have to do. Just state the answer. We said that a minute ago. State the answer and ask the questions how to get there. And I don't know what that number is. If that number is $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month, tell me what your answer is, and I'll help you get there if you want my help. Don't tell me how to do it. Let me show you how I do it. That's all I want. That's what I expect. And I hope that's why you come to me. So, look at this list right here. Okay. Can you list the things preventing your success? And then here's my question. Do you have a go-to bag? Are you ready at any moment to do the thing that's most beneficial to you in your career? Do you have a good mindset? Do you think you're going to, I watched this movie the other day and these guys were swinging swords at each other and hammers and axes and stuff like that. And some of them were just totally confident that they were going to whack somebody on the head or cut somebody's arm off. And that's what they were doing. And then other people were acting defensively and scared and they were getting whipped. So do you have a self-generating list of suspects? And when I talk about self-generating, about 15, 20 minutes ago, I said, hey, anybody you talk to who's got 2 moms and children and friends? And if you do the family tree go-to first interview correctly, you will have more you will always walk out of there with more suspects than you walked in with. And then all you have to have is systematic, massive action to approach them and be prepared. You have your approach letters ready, have your whatever it is you're going to use, have it ready, implement it. And you got to have the confidence to know that converting a suspect to a prospect is an art. It's a master art of sales. And if you can learn to do that, and the reason people don't learn to do that is because they have some pain about it. They're afraid they're going to get rejected. That's why every year when I get my pool filled up full of cold water, the first thing I do is I just jump in because I know I don't want to get cold and I don't want to get wet, so I just jump in. So you got to have confidence in the go-to first interview. Folks, I have honed that interview to the point where some people have told me, I don't know if Ben Williams on here, but he called me a financial terrorist because I led people to the decisions that they didn't know they were going to make when I first started leading them. And he said, you're good at that. He said, you took them all the way through the process and they didn't squeal. They didn't hurt. They didn't feel offended. They didn't feel pressured. They just answered some questions and followed it through to the end result of, hey, I need a go bag that includes a revocable living trust, a pour over will, a power of attorney for finances, power of attorney for healthcare, and an advanced care directive for me and my spouse. That's a go bag too. So, I want to ask you this question. Are there things in your life draining your energy? My friend Rick Murray passed away last year. Bone cancer was draining his energy, and he couldn't do anything about it. And I'll never forget the day I went in and he was laying on his bed and he was crying, he was hurting. And all I knew to say to him was, Rick, it's okay not to hurt anymore. Let this take the pain away. And he said, no, don't want the pain to go away because it makes my brain go away, and I want to be here to look at my son. He was focused on what he wanted. Okay. If you want to focus on a $10,000 income, that doesn't mean it has to be a 25-hour day. It just means you have to do the things in the correct order to do them to get there. That's all. Next thing is, are you hanging with the right people? When I was in Fort Lauderdale last week, I knew I was hanging with the right people. Those are people that are my mentors. They're my friends. They are my equals, and they are also my students. I mean, that's right where I wanted to be in life. I didn't know any of them so personally as I know some of you all here today, but those were the people that I enjoy being around because they give me what I need, and hopefully I can give them what they need. So you have to be comfortable with the cycle of success, and that's why I harp on it all the time. And then I want to ask you a question. Do you have a planning identity? Are you doing your 90-day plan? Are you aware of what you need to do the rest of this week? Lots of the country's got 10 inches of snow out there. I look at it as, hey, that took a lot of things off my calendar that I can't do and left room for things that I can do. Same thing wherever you are. So anyway, I just want to ask you, there's 4 stages. If you read Approach, Plan, Succeed, in the last chapters of the book, I give you the 4 stages of estate planning. And one of them is you're a one-man show. And there are a lot of one-man shows at this meeting today. So my question for you is, how long do you want to be a one-man show? And it could be that if you only have to do $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000, being a one-man show means total freedom, because you can go in and sell a trust or two and fund it, and you're going to be making $7,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month. But the other one, if you want to increase your production, you can be a one-man show with an assistant. Did I spell that right? ASSISTAN. Yeah. A one-man show with an assistant. And you have to decide what you want that assistant to do. And that assistant should be doing things that you don't like to do that allow you time to do what I call income producing activities. If income is where you're going to focus your time. I'm not saying you have to, and I'm saying it's morally right and ethically right. It's just up to you. Some of you need $10,000 just to take care of your families. Some of you need $10,000 to hang out in Margaritaville. It's okay. So my question is, are you ready to delegate roles and responsibilities? Well, it took me a long time to get there because I didn't want to let it go. But what I found is that you pick the right people, they're better at it than you are. So I just want to ask you the question, are you spending time on non-income producing activities, or are you spending time on income producing activities? Where is it you want to function? Where are you the best? And then the next thing is and we're going to have a webinar on this Friday at 2:00. For those of you that are listening here today who want to become or want to build downlines or want to build agencies, I'm going to show you how we do it, why we do it, and what some agencies who are bigger than me, how they do it. Okay, so if you're preparing to build a downline that allows you to be across the board in all stages, estate planning, from marketing, front end sales, back end sales, and future sales, you cannot do those things and all the paperwork. You cannot do all those things and make all the phone calls or be available to accept the phone calls. So some of you are going to grow into stage 4. Some of you are going to be very, very happy in stage 1, and then there's stage 2 and 3 in between there. That if you really want to multiply your income, you'll start moving from stage 1 to stage 2 and stage 3. And we're doing that right now with and something that I want y'all to be aware of. But we are now entering we are now entering what I call entry level estate planning. And Jay and Greg and Steve, I need to be working with you on a little bit, but the model is drawn and we're going to be looking at it this week. So don't raise your hands yet. I haven't asked a question. All right. See, they can hear me. All right. Are you ready to be in charge of all the pillars of success? You want to see why I call a properly funded trust the sweet spot? So look at all these people. Every one of them want to know this stuff. Of course. Well, if you start with 10 suspects and follow through the correct step-by-step behaviors and manipulations, whatever that you want to call them, 1 year later, these are the things that are going to happen to you. You're going to start having annual reviews, and you're going to start writing business every time you go into an annual review. You're going to be getting referrals, which replaces your suspect list. But most people will refer up and not down if you do a good job. If you do a bad job, they'll refer down. You'll get all the future sales. My three biggest sales in the fall was one referral, one future sale, and one annual review. And the total from September to November was about $3 million. But $3 million I didn't even know existed from people I already knew and people I was already doing business with. That doesn't mean I did a bad job. It just means I did a good job on the go back. So, if you do your job right, you're going to pick up all kinds of extra income on inheritance transfers. You're going to find out that some of your friends sold their big $800,000, $900,000 house and bought a $400,000 house and want to know what to do with the rest of the money. You don't have to sell them a trust. You already sold them a trust. They're going to call you when that happens, unless you're Johnny on the spot and you know it's going to happen. That's why I ask the health questions. I know when my clients are sick. I know when I need to talk to them and be a money minister, if you want to call it that. But helping people through the death of a loved one bonds them to you so well, because sometimes the death of the loved one was the one who handled all the money. And even if they're in stocks and bonds, the survivor might not want to be in stocks and bonds because they've never handled money. They just want to be safe the rest of their lives. Now you might pick up $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 helping them get there. I don't know. But you're also going to be able to do seminars, but you're going to be able to invite your clients and your friends to your seminars. You don't have to have a seminar full of people who've never done business with you in the past. It's called seeding, SEEDING. Have a couple of people that are happy with what you've done inside that crowd, who will say things good about you if asked. And then if you're smart, you'll do some client events. I haven't done as many as I should have done, but I did one a couple of years ago, invited 107 people, and 104 of them showed up. That was fun. They had to listen to me play my harmonica. But anyway, there's so many things that can come from that. Okay, so I want to go on the things. Here's what that we'll do. This is what Greg will do. This is what Steve will do. Jay will do it. I'll do it. We'll all help you. We will help you create a monitoring process. I'm not saying you need to be monitored, but if we monitor, we can train and coach. Because if you're failing on step 3, it does us no good to make you an expert at step 4, because you're never going to get there. But you got to have the suspect, got to have the prospect, got to have the client, got to have the advocate. And it should be updated twice weekly on the Licensees Initiative. That's you. You should look at this list of what you have to do at least twice a week. So, here's my definition of a trained licensee, because my best trained licensees, folks, they're not at this meeting today. They're out doing it. They don't need to be here. They can come in and learn things or ask questions and lead us. There's some very good licensees here that are leaders. And you probably already know them. I heard their names mentioned several times last week down in Fort Lauderdale. And I realized that some of those people attend our meeting every week, and they are leaders, and you need to learn from them. I hope you want to learn from me. But a trained licensee will be able to build the bridge to convert the suspect to the prospect by convincing the suspect to have an estate review on a favorable basis. That's when the action starts. I talked to a fellow today, a single guy, didn't know he was single. I said, "Are you married?" And he said, "No." I said, "Do you have children?" He said, "No." And I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. If you were in a hospital tonight on a bed in a coma, and the doctor didn't think you were going to live through the night, who would you want to represent you?" And he said, "Oh, that would be my mom." I said, "Okay. Is your dad still alive?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Why didn't you pick your dad?" And he told me. And then I looked at him and I said, I called him by his name. I won't tell you his name, but I called him by his name and I said, "You know what? We just did your whole family tree. And don't you think as a single person, you're at risk because most single people don't think that they have to have the proper paperwork?" And he went, "Boy, I'm learning a lot from you pretty quick." And I said, "Well, we want you to learn because we want you to come join us." So anyway, this is where the licensee makes the primary promise. This is the point. If you can get someone up to that point and you identify them as a suspect, this is where you pull your sword out or your go bag, and you know that out of your go bag, you're going to pull out this sentence. I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about I left off current. I don't know why I left that off. I'll have to put that in there. Can't move my mouse. But anyway, this should be your current estate plan, because we don't want to look like we want to sell them an estate plan. We want to help them see what they need to do about their current plan, and you can facilitate that if they want you to. So, that's, I keep talking to you about the primary promise. I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. There, I got it in there. And then the past couple weeks, I've talked to you. Okay, you've made your primary promise. Now, inside your go bag, you've got the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. Out of the 400,000 active financial services licensed agents in the United States right now, I only know 140 of them that have access to the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. That makes you very distinctive. Everybody else is out trying to sell infinite banking or IUL, or, they sell products. And if you get somebody that's not interested in a product, you've wasted the approach. If you use this approach, even if they say no right now, that they have the rest of their lives to say yes, and that's a future sale. Stick with them. They'll have relationship changes, asset changes, health changes, and eventually they'll see that you were right. Maybe not today, but that's okay, because you've got somebody else to go see, and their day's probably here. So you've got the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview in your go bag. You've got the Family Estate Doc software in your go bag. And the thing that's different about your Family Estate Doc software than most of the other software that's available to agents across the United States is you are being taught how to use it. You are being taught how to sell it. It's just a tool. That's all. Something special. But you've also got the Godiva delivery. And that's when you make that, and some of you are dropping the ball on this. I already know by the way you say things, you're dropping the ball on the Godiva delivery. That's when you had the opportunity to set the stage for the back end sale. And then you've got the income for life presentation if you want it. Those of you don't want it, that's okay. It's okay. If you don't have the income you want, and then you come to me and say, I don't have the income you want, I'm going to look at you and say, why don't you learn the income for life presentation? Because I'm so stubborn that I have one approach, one sales presentation, one piece of software, one way to deliver it, and one way to get the big back end sale early in the relationship. I don't need you to teach me anything different. And I won't want you to because I like maintaining the sweet spot. And if I'm in the sweet spot with my clients, I'm in a spot where no other broker can take my business away because I'm so far ahead of them on the estate plan that they can't break the ice. So, I have a goal for every one of my licensees. And I've already said, we've got 140 in the mill and active right now. My goal for 2024 is 1,000 licensees. And that's not even going to touch the market. It's not even going to, I would like to have out of those 1,000, I know that 333 of them are going to be unsuccessful, unproductive, and they're going to hem and haw and they're going to buy the license and tell me why they can't do it and tell me they don't have anybody to see. And I'm going to go, okay, you're just in that group. That's just who you are. But then there's going to be that middle third that they know that they don't have the income that they want. And they know that the reason they don't have the income they want is they're missing a piece of information, a piece of knowledge that maybe if they had it, it would improve their lifestyles. And they already have some clients, but they've only got two choices. They can either go sell to people who've not bought from them before, or they can sell new products to people who've already bought from them in the past, which is the strongest point to be in. So my goal for each licensee is to develop the correct number of new suspects that can be efficiently handled by the licensee at any level the licensee wants to pursue. And I told you about 10, 15 minutes ago about the guy I was talking to, and he said, I was working for this company and they would not give me what they said they would give me. And I looked at him on the phone, if you can look at somebody on the phone, and I said, that's not how this company works. You decide who you want to be and how you want to get there. And we will give you the roadmap and the tools and the help and the support. And if you get in trouble, we'll come get you. We'll pull you out. We'll talk about what happened. We'll talk about why you got in that spot. And hopefully you'll know not to do it again. The next time where you lost a sale, you'll make a sale. So when I talk to people, and this whole thing of what I've been doing today, this is what I know. This is what I do. It works. It's the roadmap to the cycle of success that avoids the Peter Principle. I'm going to read that again. The cycle of success avoids the Peter Principle. Remember what the Peter Principle was? Is that people rise to their level of incompetence, and good companies can see that and recognize that and go in and administer to that good employee who's already risen to their level of incompetence and show them what the problem is, where the pain is, and what they need to do to get rid of that pain so that they can start growing again. That's what good companies do. Bad companies fire them. Bad companies replace them. And all the experience that they've gained in the past goes away from that company. You don't want that. I don't want that. So, if you're here and if you're still here, if I haven't run you off today, your success in this project is important to our teachings, to our licensees. The successes that our licensees have, we share. We want you to know what it was that clicked. So, the only way I know to do that is my company will carry the flag. And in my paintball career, that meant that you're probably going to get shot. Okay. I don't care. Uh, I'll make sure your marketing works in all categories, but you have to implement and you have to apply and you have to help me. I can't put the personas. I can show you the avatars, but you have to develop the personas and the persona becomes the suspect. One avatar might be all widows age 66 who just lost a husband and didn't make any financial decisions on their own and don't want to be involved in the risk that the father was in. That's an avatar. Or another avatar might be uh, uh, a dad with two children who's lost his wife and still has to work and maintain things and wants to be sure that he can take care of his kids. That's another avatar. So, when people tell me they don't have anybody to see, I want to look and see if they're blind or they've got patches over their eyes so they can't see out. But just remember, making sure your marketing works in both categories. We'll make sure that you know what to do to do business with people who have done business with you in the past, and I will be sure that you know what to do with people who have not done business with you in the past. Can't do it for you. Can't be everywhere. Can't be in Dallas. I can't be in Omaha. I can't be in Chicago. I can't be in Baltimore. I can't be in Provo, Utah. Can't be in Freeport, Kansas, population 17. I was there once. But anyway, so your purpose, if you want to expand your income in this field of financial services, is to get involved in conversations with your suspects, getting as many as possible into the estate planning process. And you can do it in 2 minutes. You might do it in 2 weeks. I mean, just a little bit, move forward a little bit at a time. Don't count a suspect as a prospect. That way you know what your sales are going to be. And at the same time, knowing we will replace these names with new suspects through advocacy and adding our own names to the list. If you want to get good at something, get good at that. The rest of it fall in place. So, I guess that deer's barking at you. I'm not barking at you, but maybe I am. Remember, I only teach what I know and what I do. And what you have just seen is what I know and what I do. I want to teach you how to hunt. That's it. Once I teach you how to hunt, I'm going to watch you spend the money that you make helping those families better their lives. That's just it. So I want to thank you for your time. I would like to, Lisa, if you want to take them off mute and, I'll answer some questions. They don't have to be on this topic. But folks, it's important that you have a go bag. And I didn't even think about it till I heard Mr. Koontz speak. And I realized that a Navy SEAL, since most of the time his work is at night, and most of the time they wake him up to tell him what's going on, or they rush him out the door, he has to be able to grab a bag that's got everything in it that he needs so that he can come back safely and get things done, what he wants to get done. Okay, any questions? Come on.
Brooklyn had a question in the chat.
Who is it? I don't have my chat on.
Brooklyn asks,
It was.
Hi, Brooklyn. And Brooklyn's a new licensee. Welcome to the tribe here, Brooklyn. What's your question?
Just because I don't know, I was
Okay.
asking, since we do have, I mean, obviously we're not doing it purely to make money. That's a given. For the notary, because I don't know any better, I put in the chat, are we considered by law to not, or no, that wasn't the part. I was basically asking if we had a conflict of interest with that transaction, since we benefit directly off the profits of the transaction from the estate plan when it's put in force.
Well, I am a notary and I don't always notarize what I do. But at the same time, you can, if you get your notary, you swear to be an honest and a good person. And, you know, I've never been faced with a conflict of interest on it. But I do, if I sell it and I've got a notary there in my office, I'll have them notarize. I don't care to be a witness. Attorneys don't care to be witnesses, and some attorneys don't care to notarize something. They get paid. So I don't think you have a problem there.
Okay. I just
uh,
didn't know if, since the product itself was something that we benefited off of, even though we're not obviously beneficiaries and stuff on their plans, if because of the transaction taking place, there was some conflict. But
Yeah,
if we're not, I'll go ahead and get it.
Brooklyn, you're a coach. You know, you're not giving legal advice, and you're not manufacturing the document. You're coaching them through a decision process and helping them record their answers. And that's exactly what you're doing. It's okay for you to finish that out by notarizing it or by being a witness. And it's okay to talk to them about the proper funding of what they've just done.
Okay, understood. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm glad you joined us. Thank you. Who else is out there? Mike Carrillis, you got any questions?
You just brought up some great points again, Randy. And, I'm just still getting my feet wet, sending out some emails, sending out some, trying to get the ball moving.
Okay. And Mike, remember now you've got the dual identity, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And that because you are a prominent, well-known roofer in Omaha, Nebraska, that it might be a problem if you approach somebody about their estate plan. That I think that was an identity crisis. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that we talked about that one of the ways to get over that is to go to other roofers and tell them that you think that they might benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan because you're a roofer too.
I have, and I've talked to a few that kind of put me off, which with the weather, I mean, everybody's putting everybody off, right? And people are busy, but it just got to keep them in the mix,
You got to keep, and you don't know when the person you bought a $1,378 email program was going to be in the hospital that night in a unresponsive. You don't know
that was really, that hit home.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you also know that one of the great comebacks to someone who doesn't want to have an appointment right now is to look at them and say, it doesn't matter if you buy anything, but if we have this conversation, you're probably going to learn something you weren't aware of that you want to take care of later. And that's what we do. So once they agree to that, they become a future sale.
That phrase is just perfect. It's perfect.
Of course, it's perfect. It's tried and true. It didn't come to me overnight in a dream. It came to me by getting beat up by a couple of hundred people in the world. And then I realized that there was one thing that they weren't beating me up over. And that was the fact that they were going to learn something they weren't aware of, and that they were going to benefit from the conversation.
And I think I'm saying it, but I'm not saying it that way, that exact way. That's the way I need to get it memorized. It's perfect. It's just perfect.
It is perfect, and the only way you're going to make it perfect is keep doing it over and over and over until it gets perfect. I don't care to look at people and throw my hands up in the air like I'm not sure. I don't care is what I'm trying to say to them, but I throw my hands up in the air and go, even if you don't do anything, you're probably going to learn something you weren't aware of. And it's all in intonation. Intonation changes with each situation. Anything else out there? How you doing, Santi?
Good.
Good. What else we got out there? My mission, hopefully, is to help you make your first sale. After that, we want to learn what it is that was successful on the first sale. We want to repeat that behavior as many times as we can. And then once we get 2 or 3 trust sales under our belt, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to go, now that we're moving some trust along, let's make our first $1 million in sales. It probably won't be one sale, but let's you and me figure out how to make $1 million in sales. And if you agree to that, I'll help you with it. I'll teach you what I say, what I do. the folks that are with us in our group right now that have been instrumental in those $28 million in sales, they wouldn't have got them had they not gotten out there and gotten in front of people and had conversations with them. And every conversation you have in the financial world has something to do with the beneficiary. So what if you don't talk to them about the beneficiaries? What if you don't have that conversation? You know, what if they expected you to have that they expected you to have every conversation that you are required to have. So if you don't talk to them about the beneficiary arrangements, are you letting them down? Are you being negligent? Are you being derelict? I think so. I think you need to talk to people about the beneficiary arrangements because that's helping them find their true purpose for money. True purpose for money not only exists in the everyday life, in the accumulation phase, it also exists in the distribution phase and the preservation phase. And you'll find that when you draw the family tree. You'll find out why or what their true purpose for money is by finding out who they love and what they plan to do about it. Anything else out there?
Yeah, Randy, I had a question for you. This is Chris.
Okay, Chris.
Hey, I was putting together the Go bag here, and the only thing I couldn't find anywhere was the Accord transfer form. Where would I get those?
You can get them just write Google and type in Accord transfer form.
Okay.
And it's a generic transfer form. American Equity accepted, F&G accepts it.
Oh, these are
Lincoln,
for asset transfers. I got it. Okay.
yeah. Then 1035s or rollovers or transfers.
Okay.
And keep a generic one. Keep a generic one right there handy. 2 or 3.
Okay.
They're worth every ounce of the paper they're written on.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. What else we got out there?
Joe had a question in the chat.
Oh, Joseph Amira, you got something to say? Joseph, you still here with us?
Yeah. I guess, did I hear correctly? Can an agent that creates the estate plan, can we sign as a witness on the
Yes.
notary?
No, you
We
can't be
can't?
the notary and the witness. You can be the notary
right.
or the witness.
Right.
Yes.
I plan to, I have a notary, 2 people in a notary that will come to the office.
Okay.
So I will not be the notary, but so if I'm not the notary, then I can sign.
You can sign
as
as a
the
witness. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that was my concern, was how I'm gonna grab 2 people. So I can ask my boss and me, and that'll be fine. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Good. Everybody learns something different, don't they? That's a
Yeah.
good thing. Okay. What else we got out there? Are we cleared on the chat room?
Yes, there's nothing more in the chat.
All right. So let me tell you what's happening in the company right now. Friday, you're okay. Well, tomorrow at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock, Jay, you and Greg will be a little surprised at that. Sales Recruiting University started running their ads Monday. Nationwide, we now in 2.5 days have 127. I'll take that back. We got 50 more this afternoon. About 175-ish licensee applicants. And the benefit that you have over that is you're a year ahead of them. You're 6 months ahead of them. But 10,000 won't be enough of well-trained estate planners. 10,000 won't be enough. Okay, so we're going to be doing a webinar, and the webinar at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning is on my expectations of them if they want to be a licensee. Remember, I told you all that's something I didn't do in the first year. But in the second year, everyone will know what my expectations are if they're going to come to me to learn what we do. Now, that's going to happen twice tomorrow. It'll happen every Tuesday and every Wednesday for the next 12 weeks. And at the same time, this coming Friday at 2 p.m., I'll be doing another workshop, webinar on what you need to do to be a master licensee and how you build a downline in the estate planning world. I'm going to invite all of our licensees to it, but don't come if you don't want to be a master licensee. But if you want to learn how to do it, show up and I'll show you what to do and I'll show you how to raise your income there. And when we use the new entry level estate planner, they're not going to be insurance licensed. So they're not going to be privy to to the back end sale. And they're not even going to have a website. They're going to have to work through a licensee. And we're going to call them setters, setters, people who know people out in the world who would benefit from a conversation. And we'll teach them our sales presentation. But when it comes down to funding it, the setters will have to move out and let the licensed people close the deal. And so a setter is going to want to be a licensee and want to get this insurance license as quick as possible. But at the same time, they can have $500 to $5,000 a month income part-time by identifying people in their lives that would benefit from a conversation about their current estate plan. So that's something that's going on, and we've worked on it for the past 4 or 5 months, and it launched yesterday. And in the first day, the first 2 days, and then we're just marketing to Atlanta, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Nashville. And 175 people came out of the woodwork raising their hands like the people in this picture. They're going, yes, I want to learn that. And one of the things that I'm going to say to them over and over and over is, it's not the knowledge we give you. It's what you do with that knowledge after you get it. And I'm just telling all of you, and you guys have got something in your hands right now that it's got gold and silver written all over it if you'll just implement correctly. And if you're not writing any business in 60 days, you are not implementing correctly. And my mission is to find out what it is you're doing that you would have this knowledge and not write any business in 60 days. And it would either be you don't want to, don't have to, or there's a pain point in there that you can't get over that stops you from doing it. And it wouldn't take me long to find the pain point. And most of the time, we go to step 1, the suspect; step 2, the prospect; step 3, the client; step 4, the advocate, and we will find that pain point. And we just have to find some way to get over it with you. And there's a way for every pain point to go away. It just has to be identified. Hope that makes sense. What else we got out there?
Question.
Go ahead. Yes.
Using the, it's like using the website. Basically, here's the situation. I prospected a person, and they gave me, basically said, hey, it's like, if you want to go ahead and have this meeting, it's like, just give me your cell number. And what he did is he just took my cell number and immediately texted me his name, first and last name. So I've captured him. But I was wondering, is there something on the website that I can send back? Because it's going to be he and his wife. Is there a way of sending back something over text as opposed to email, with the website as a follow-up?
Tony, I'm not high tech enough to know the answer to that. If anybody else knows it, share it with us. What I have learned, Tony, is that the best way to communicate with somebody is if you communicate with them the way they communicate with you. Jen, is that you out there? Do you know the answer?
That's me. It depends. What are you trying to send them, Tony?
Well, I was thinking maybe, the thing where the scoring thing, do you need a will or a trust? Because, he said he was going to mention it to his wife and then we'd be able to set up an appointment. I wanted to just put that in his hand to where it was something like, hey, they run through that 20 questions like, oh, wow, we're scoring 23, 24 points, whatever.
Right. There's nothing set up in the software for that. You could set up something like that for yourself, which is what I have done. I took that marketing piece, which is good, and I made it my own. Basically, I beefed it up. And so that's on a website that they can click on and do all that.
Okay, so you've got your own website that you added that form to.
Well, I redid that form because that form is not the best. It's a great idea.
It's a handout.
But there's spelling errors in there, and it's missing a whole bunch of information. So anyway, I have beefed it up for myself, and then just put that on a website. And that's what I use for my marketing materials. I have them printed out and I mail those out. I give them out to everybody who owns a home.
Okay. One thing, Jen, and Tony, that you might be aware of is that Ryan Levesque is a computer digital guru, and he does quizzes. So he would turn the Will and the Trust brochure into a quiz, and
Okay, so that's what
go
I'm
ahead.
looking for, Randy. Has somebody already done that?
Well, there's people who do that with all industries. You know, the quiz is,
Yep.
do you have high
already-
blood pressure, or you just turn it into a quiz. People like to take quizzes.
I know, but is there somebody who's already done this?
No,
Or
not
do
that
I-
would-
Okay,
not
'cause
for
That's
not
next on
for
the list, is to make it a quiz.
yeah.
So I
um,
wondered if you've already done it.
Well, I'm sure, and I can't tell you they have not. I can tell you I don't know where it is,
Well, I
but
don't know. Are they
you
in
know,
estate planning or are they in marketing?
Ryan Levesque is in marketing.
Okay, so then he would not have done that.
He
Okay,
would have, what he does, he teaches people how to take any topic and turn it into a quiz.
okay.
Okay, so anyway,
So,
and Tony, don't be so tiptoey, you know. Send them that video about there's a coming storm. And if I were you, I would take that guy's wife and send her a note and say, I understand that you might be instrumental in the decision. I think you might benefit from conversation with me about your current estate plan. I hope that's what you all decide. Here's a video I think you ought to watch.
Well, what I have right now is just his personal text number. It was Debbie's cancer surgeon, and we were doing the follow-up. And I just, prospected him using the standard, you might learn something about your estate plan you're not aware of. And as a result of that, he was like, well, yeah, I don't have anything in place. And, he then, texted me his personal cell phone. So
Okay,
right now,
now-
the only thing I have is the personal cell phone.
What I would have said to him immediately is, what's his first name?
Michael,
Hey, Michael, what if you were in a hospital tonight in a coma and the doctor didn't know you were going to live through it or not? Do you have the proper paperwork to let that doctor know who you want to make those decisions for? Just any version of that you want. It's okay. Most people say no, and then they realize how important it is, and then they realize that you're actually trying to do them a favor.
well, I missed that opportunity, so I am where I am right now.
Well, no, you have not capitalized on that opportunity yet.
Can I respond there?
Sure.
So, Tony, I'm not sure why you think you need to convince him to meet with you when he's already said he's going to meet with you, right? Did he already agree to meet with you?
He said we need to get together.
That's what I
Okay,
heard.
so then you just set the appointment.
Yeah.
You're overthinking it. Literally, you're overthinking it. I
Yep.
don't say any of those things that Randy just said. I literally say nothing. I set the appointment.
Yep.
Everybody shows up. I've had zero no-shows. I sell them the estate plan. You're really, really, really overthinking it.
Yeah.
If he
I
said,
agree
yeah, we
with
need
you,
to
Jen.
set the appointment and go talk to him in the next day or two. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Tony, if
Go
you
ahead.
wanted to send him a text, ask him for his email, and let him know that you want to send him a free trial of the estate plan. Well, okay, Eddie, I see you shaking your head.
Yeah,
You know,
no, he's
or just
already agreed
just
to
send
the
him-
appointment. You just
I-
want to find out
All
now
right.
when is the best time to get together.
Well, yeah,
He's
and
already
there's
agreed
so-
to the
there's-
appointment.
Okay, and there's so many different styles. Okay, so many different ways to complete the approach. Okay, there's no right way, no wrong way. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you my way, because that's what I know and that's what I do, and it seems to work. So those of you who don't do what I know and what I do, it's okay, but I sure can't teach you anything other than what I know to do and what I know works. So if someone communicates with me by text, I will communicate by text. If they communicate with me by email, I will communicate by email. But if I want to get them involved in a conversation about their estate plan, I will find a way to communicate that through whatever technique they use to communicate with me. And I'll build that relationship because you shouldn't text an emailer and you shouldn't phone a texter. Okay, don't switch media. Stay on the level where
Yeah.
they are. Okay. All right, what else we got? I'm only one phone call away from my short-term goal. I got to get to it here in a few minutes.
And
that's-
you've got an hour to be able to, before you can go play in the, you can go play in the snow.
yeah.
At least walk out and look at the moonshine in the cold weather.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I don't
look
drink,
at the
so-
moonshine. Don't drink it.
Yeah. There were many days ago a
Yeah.
snow and a little bit of brandy would be nice. Okay. All right. What else is going on?
Randy, thank you for this opportunity for personal growth and development.
Well, I appreciate that. And listen, I'm here to help. I want to help. What I'm finding is that more people are demanding my time who will actually do the things I ask them to do. And that's where I want to spend my time. So I need you because that's where I feel the most valuable is when people come up and say, "This is my problem." I'll say, "Okay, now that we have stated the answer, let's ask the questions how to solve it." And sometimes I don't have a prospecting problem. I have I'm pretty good at it, so I get overwhelmed. Okay. That's a good thing. If the overwhelmed feeling is lets you cherry pick. I'd much rather go on a $2 million case than on a $30,000 case. Okay. But that means that if where I am is generating $30,000 cases, I gotta get away from that. I gotta move on. Okay. All right. What else we got? Lots of things happening. I'd be very surprised if we don't have an extra 100 to 250 licensees by May 1. Okay, so come join us, help us lead them. You are already way ahead of them. If you want to be a master licensee, attend that meeting on Friday. You're going to get an invitation. Okay, let's learn how to do it. Okay, I got to go. Unless anybody wants to say something else.
Just super
Joe
quick.
had a question in the chat, Randall.
What is it?
Thanks, Randy. Any idea on the new replacement for Stripe?
Okay, yeah. There is a replacement for Stripe. Frank Divers has not told me what it is. It's going to be implemented, but before February 1. And my website announces it. I think if you look on your website, it'll also announce it too on your landing page that you're going to get directions soon to register the new way for you to get paid. And I don't know why they're leaving Stripe. That's not a, that's a non-income producing activity for me. That's something they handle. So I'm just going to trust them to do it right. And when they send us the directions, let's just get it done. Okay. Don't let that, don't let it change your behavior or create an issue that you dwell on. Let's just get it done, and the money's still the same, and it still lands in your same bank account. It's just, I think there's someone that's doing it in a way that doesn't cost as much. That's all I think. And Stripe's really hard to work with when you have a problem. Anything else?
Brooklyn had a question for
Go ahead, Brooke.
Jen.
Okay. Jen?
Oh, if she read it, I apologize already. I just asked if she would mind sharing her revised version of the scorecard so that I can use it for my social media.
Okay, and that'll be up to Jen. Okay. And I don't know Jen's answer, and I'll let Jen and you talk about that privately. Was that fair?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Okay. And Jen, that's yours to do whatever you think is best.
I'll just answer right here, Randy. I've done a lot of I put together a lot of extra things that I do with my downline. And that's really what I'm doing. So people are in my downline, they're getting a bunch of the extra things that I'm working on. So I've got marketing things and I've got things that I do for my clients, and all of that goes to the people in my downline.
Okay. All righty. And Brooke, for you, state your answer and get it to us, and we'll find the solution for you. And it may be Jen, it may be what we do, it may be we get you on the website with Ryan Levesque, who's a master at doing quizzes. Let's make that our next conversation, and we'll talk about it. What else we got?
Nothing more in
Okay.
the chat.
I'm sorry. One more in the chat.
Nothing more. Nothing more.
The chat is clear. Okay. Well, I'm ready to go. It's snowing outside. Or it was, and I'm gonna go play in it. And hope you guys have a good day. I've got one more phone call to make in sunny California. Tomorrow's an active day. If you want to be invited, we're going to invite everybody to the 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock tomorrow. If you want to come, you're going to hear what I am telling new potential licensees and what my expectations are. I just need to tell you up front, you did not hear those expectations. But I do not want more licensees who do not understand what I expect if they're going to come and learn from me. I expect them to be productive and profitable, and I expect them to follow what I say do, because that's what they're paying me for, and that's what they're asking me to tell them. Okay, what else? Expectations, implementation. Those are cool words. So if you have a vocabulary list that you're keeping, write down expectations and implementation. Next. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm about gone. If you want to, if you want to be at those other Zoom calls tomorrow, respond to the email. Lisa and I'll send it. It's late notice, but we thought it was just one tomorrow, but it turned out they were advertising 2 different times, and so we're going to do 2 webinars. And because I don't want to change people that have already planned for the 11 o'clock and try to move them to 2, and I don't want the people that have already planned for 2, I don't want to move them to 11. And to be honest with you, I need the practice, so I'm going to do it twice tomorrow, and it'll be twice the fun. And then we'll do it once next Tuesday and one next Wednesday, and we'll still have our 3 p.m. Tuesday training class for established licensee. And one other thing, one guy asked me today, what's the difference between the 3 o'clock meeting on Tuesdays and the introductory meetings that we're going to have twice a week? And I told him, I said, and he may be here. I told him, I said, the 3 o'clock meeting on Tuesday is for licensees who are gaining experience and are looking to build their business. The meeting on Wednesday morning are for people who are someone's moved their cheese and they're trying to figure out what to do about it. And I don't want them to bring their problems to me. I want them to bring their solutions that they're looking to achieve. And if their solutions and mine are congruent and the same, then I want to work with them. If they tell me, hey, I want to be a licensee, but I've got such personal problems in life that I can't do anything, but I want to dump those problems on you and see if you can help me with those problems, I'm going to tell them no. I'm going to say, let me show you, let me teach you how to hunt. Let me show you how to change your life economically. Anything else?
Randall, Carter has a question in the chat. Can we send you names to invite tomorrow?
Yes. If they have proper emails, Lisa, I'm going to be sending them to you, and I don't want to be doing that at 10 o'clock tonight. I'd be more than happy to, if you have names and you want to get them to us right now, of course, we would love to invite them. And Carter, you're a master licensee, and those people, they'll belong to you, and we'll get them under your banner. Anything else?
No.
All right. Hey, everybody, today's Tuesday. I'll talk to you later. Maybe next Tuesday. I gotta go. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.